Imagine losing your job for helping someone. That's exactly what happened to Tasha. But what followed? Pure karma. It all began with a simple act of kindness, the kind most people wouldn't think twice about. But for Tasha Williams, it was second nature. For nearly 3 years, she had worked at the Bayview Grill, an upscale waterfront restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina. The kind of place where lobster tails were plated like works of art, and the wine list stretched longer than the menu itself. Tasha had seen all kinds of customers walk through those glass doors, tourists flashing their Rolexes, business execs barely acknowledging the waitstaff, and regulars who snapped their fingers when they needed more water. She had learned to deal with them all. But that night was different. The dinner rush had just started to die down when an older man walked in. He didn't fit the usual crowd. His jacket was wrinkled, his shirt a little too big, his shoes worn but clean. He hesitated at the entrance, scanning the restaurant as if he wasn't sure he even belonged there. Tasha noticed how the other servers glanced at him, then quickly looked away. No one wanted to take his table. That usually meant one thing: they assumed he wouldn't tip well. She sighed, adjusting her apron before walking over. "Hey there, sir, how's your evening going?" she asked with a warm smile. The man looked up, his expression a mix of relief and gratitude. "Ah, good, I guess. I've never been here before." Tasha handed him a menu. "Well, you're in for a treat. Need any recommendations?" He nodded slowly, scanning the overpriced entrees. "Yeah, what's good here?" she chuckled. "Honestly, everything, but if you're looking for something solid, I'd go with the shrimp and grits, classic low country style, packed with flavor." The man hesitated, tapping his fingers against the menu. Then, almost too quietly, he asked, "And, how much is just a coffee?" Tasha's heart sank. She had seen this before, someone walking into a restaurant, hoping for a nice meal, only to realize it was out of reach. She leaned in slightly. "You know what? The shrimp and grits are on special tonight," she said casually. "Half off. And I'll throw in that coffee for you, no charge." His eyes flicked up to hers, surprised. "You don't have to do that," Tasha shrugged. "I know, but I want to." She walked away before he could argue. What she didn't know was that this small, seemingly insignificant act was about to change her life forever. Tasha moved through the restaurant with ease, balancing plates, keeping an eye on her tables, making sure every customer felt like they mattered. But every now and then, she glanced over at the man she had just helped. He sat quietly in his corner, stirring his coffee more than drinking it. When his shrimp and grits arrived, he took small bites, savoring each one like someone who didn't take a hot meal for granted. She couldn't help but wonder, what was his story? A businessman down on his luck? A widower who didn't get out much? Or maybe just someone who wanted to feel normal for a night? Whatever it was, she didn't pry. Tasha had always believed that kindness wasn't about getting answers. It was about doing the right thing. As the night went on, she checked in on him, making sure he had everything he needed. Unlike most of the high-end clientele, he always thanked her. Always looked her in the eye. When he finished, he carefully placed a few bills on the table and stood up. "Thank you, miss. You didn't have to do what you did." Tasha smiled. "I know, but I hope you enjoyed your meal." He gave her a small nod and walked out the door. And that should have been the end of it. But something about the way her manager, Chris Dunbar, watched the man leave made her uneasy. His usual smug expression was gone, replaced by something else. Something calculating. Chris was the kind of boss who never missed a chance to remind the staff who was in charge. He ran the Bayview Grill like a drill sergeant, and if you made a mistake, he made sure you paid for it. Tasha had never been on his bad side before. Until now. She noticed him flipping through the security footage at the host stand, rewinding and rewatching her interaction with the older man. His jaw tightened. Then he picked up his phone and disappeared into the back office. Tasha's stomach knotted. But she pushed the feeling aside. She hadn't done anything wrong. Right? The rest of her shift passed in a blur. By the time she clocked out, the restaurant was nearly empty. The last of the dinner guests had long gone. She grabbed her things, ready to head home and shake off the strange way Chris had been acting. But as she walked past the office, she heard his voice. Low. Cold. Calculated. She broke protocol, he muttered. Asterisk, gave away food. That's money out of my pocket. I don't care what the situation was, she's done here. Tasha froze. The words hit like a punch. Done here? Her heart pounded as she backed away from the door. She wanted to barge in, to demand an explanation. But what was the point? Chris had already made up his mind. She had no idea how bad the next morning was going to be. But when she walked into work the next day, everything would come crashing down. The fallout. Tasha barely slept that night. She kept replaying Chris's words in her head, "She's done here." Had she really just lost her job, over a plate of shrimp and grits? By the time the sun rose, her stomach was in knots. But there was still a small part of her that refused to believe it. Maybe she had misunderstood. Maybe Chris had just been venting. So, she got dressed, walked into the Bayview Grill like any other morning, and tried to push the doubt aside. But the moment she stepped inside, she knew. The usual morning bustle, the sound of clinking dishes, baristas steaming milk, servers gossiping near the espresso machine, came to a dead halt. Everyone looked at her, then quickly looked away. Her friend and co-worker, Maya, was refilling the sugar caddies near the hostess stand. When she saw Tasha, her eyes widened. "Oh, girl," Maya whispered, setting the sugar packets down. "Chris is looking for you." Tasha's throat tightened. He already made up his mind, didn't he? Maya hesitated, then nodded. Before Tasha could respond, she heard his voice. "Williams, my office, now." Chris stood near the kitchen, arms crossed. Expression unreadable. Tasha swallowed hard and followed him inside. The moment the door closed, Chris leaned against his desk, arms still crossed over his chest. "Do you know why you're here?" he asked. Tasha refused to play dumb. "Because I bought a man dinner," Chris scoffed. "Bought him dinner? That's cute." "No, you gave away my food. On my dime. That's theft." Tasha's jaw clenched. "It was one meal, Chris. One meal today." "Then what?" He shook his head. "That's not how a business works, sweetheart." She felt her fists tighten at the condescension in his voice. "Let me get this straight," she said, forcing her voice to stay calm. "You're firing me for helping someone who was hungry." Chris sighed, like he was dealing with a child who just didn't get it. "I'm firing you because you broke the rules. You think you're some kind of hero, Williams? You're not." He reached for a folder on his desk, flipping it open. "I've already processed the paperwork. Your final paycheck will be mailed." Tasha stared at him. That was it? 3 years of hard work, gone just like that? She could have begged. She could have apologized. But instead, she smiled. A slow, knowing smile. Chris frowned. "What's funny?" Tasha shook her head, exhaling sharply. "Nothing, just, I hope you enjoy your restaurant, Chris. Because one day, you're gonna realize that running a business isn't just about the bottom line." She turned, grabbed the door handle, and left without another word. As she stepped into the main dining area, her co-workers watched in stunned silence. Maya's hands clenched into fists. "That's bullshit, Tasha just shrugged. "It is what it is." She walked out the front doors without looking back. But karma? Karma wasn't done yet. The twist. That night, Tasha was scrolling through job listings on her phone when a notification popped up. A message from Maya. "Cell phone with arrow girl. You are not gonna believe this. Check the news." Tasha frowned and clicked the link. And there it was. Mystery millionaire pays it forward to server fired for kindness. Her breath hitched as she read the article. An anonymous donor has stepped forward to help former Bayview Grill server Tasha Williams, who was fired after paying for a struggling diner's meal. The man, whose identity remains unknown, has since made a sizable donation to a local charity in Tasha's name and offered her a new opportunity. More details to come. Tasha's heart pounded. Who? Before she could process it, her phone buzzed again. Cell phone with arrow unknown number. "Miss Williams, I'd love to speak with you. I think we can help each other." Her hands trembled as she typed back. Cell phone with arrow. Who is this? The reply came almost instantly. Cell phone with arrow. Let's just say, you once bought me shrimp and grits. Tasha's breath caught. It was him. And just like that, everything changed. A new beginning. Tasha stared at the message, heart pounding. Cell phone with arrow. Let's just say, you once bought me shrimp and grits. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Was this real? Was she dreaming? Before she could second-guess herself, she typed back, cell phone with arrow. I don't understand. Who are you, really? A few seconds later, another reply came through. Cell phone with arrow, meet me tomorrow. 10 a.m. The waterfront cafe. Tasha hesitated. Was this some kind of prank? But something told her, this was real. She barely slept that night. The next morning, she threw on her best outfit, simple but professional, took a deep breath, and made her way to the waterfront cafe. As she stepped inside, she spotted him immediately. The older man from that night. But something was different. Gone with a wrinkled jacket and oversized shirt. Instead, he wore a crisp navy suit, perfectly tailored. His shoes, once worn but clean, were now polished leather. And when he looked up at her, his eyes weren't just grateful. They were knowing. Tasha walked over cautiously. "It's you," he smiled. "It is." She sat down, still processing everything. "Who are you?" she finally asked. The man stirred his coffee slowly, as if choosing his words carefully. "My name is Richard Lawson." He paused. "And I used to own the Bayview Grill." Tasha's eyes widened. "Used to?" Richard chuckled. "Chris never told you, did he? I was the original owner. Built that place from the ground up." He exhaled. "A few years ago, I sold it. Thought I'd retire, enjoy life. But recently, I've been thinking about coming back." Tasha's mind spun. "So that night, why were you there?" Richard leaned forward. "I wanted to see if the place still had the soul I built it with. If the people working there still cared." He smiled. "And you did." She swallowed hard. "But Chris," Richard's expression darkened. "Chris is a businessman, but he's not a leader." He shook his head. "Firing you was his biggest mistake." Tasha sighed. "Well, it's his problem now." Richard's eyes twinkled. "Actually, that's why I called you here." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folder, sliding it across the table. Tasha hesitated before opening it, then gasped. It was a business proposal. Richard smiled. "I just repurchased the Bayview Grill." He sat back. "And I need someone I trust to help me run it." Tasha's heart nearly stopped. "You want me to come back?" "I want you to manage it," Richard corrected. "And make it better than before." Tasha stared at him, speechless. A week ago, she had lost everything. Now, she was being offered the chance of a lifetime. Slowly, a smile spread across her face. "I think," she said, "we have a deal." And just like that, karma came full circle. Full circle. Tasha sat in her new office at the Bayview Grill, her office. Just a few days ago, she had been fired in this very room. Now, she was the one calling the shots. The weight of the moment settled over her. This wasn't just about getting her job back. It was about changing the culture of this place. Making sure no one else had to go through what she did. There was a soft knock at the door. She looked up to see Brianna peeking in. "Hey," Brianna said cautiously. "So, this is real? You're really the new boss?" Tasha smiled. "It's real." Brianna hesitated before stepping inside. "Look, I wanted to say, what happened to you? It wasn't fair. A lot of us thought so. But we were scared to speak up. Chris, he ruled by fear. I didn't want to lose my job." Tasha nodded, understanding. "I get it, but things are going to be different now." Brianna let out a breath of relief. "Good, because, there's something you should probably know." Tasha's brow furrowed. "What is it?" Brianna bit her lip. "Chris, before he left, he took money from the restaurant. A lot, and I think he's trying to set you up to take the fall for it." Tasha's stomach dropped. Of course. Chris wasn't the type to just walk away quietly. She straightened her shoulders. "How do you know?" Brianna pulled out her phone. "I overheard him on the phone with someone before he left. He was saying stuff like, let her deal with the mess and, by the time they realize, I'll be long gone." She handed Tasha her phone. "And then, I saw this." On the screen was a bank statement. Large sums of money transferred out of the restaurant's account in the last few weeks. Tasha exhaled sharply. He really thought he could get away with this. Brianna looked nervous. "What are you gonna do?" Tasha's jaw tightened. "I'm going to make sure Chris pays for every bit of it." Checkmate. Next morning, Tasha met with Robert Hale. When she showed him the evidence, his expression darkened. "He stole from us, and then tried to pin it on you?" Robert muttered. "Unbelievable." Tasha nodded. "I don't think he planned on getting caught. But we can't let him get away with it." Robert leaned back in his chair. "We won't." An hour later, legal action was in motion. The company's lawyers filed a fraud report, and soon, law enforcement was involved. By the end of the day, Chris's face was plastered across every local news station. TV, breaking news, former Bayview Grill manager under investigation for embezzlement. TV, ex-manager accused of theft, faces potential criminal charges. Tasha watched the news, a mix of satisfaction and disbelief washing over her. Chris had tried to ruin her. Instead, he had ruined himself. A fresh start. 2 weeks later, things at the Bayview Grill had completely changed. Morale was higher. The staff finally felt respected. And customers? They were coming in more than ever. The viral story about Tasha had turned the restaurant into a local symbol of second chances and fairness. People wanted to support a place that valued kindness over greed. One evening, as Tasha was closing up, Robert Hale walked in. "How's it going?" he asked. Tasha grinned. "Better than ever," Robert nodded. "Good, because I have one more offer for you." Tasha raised an eyebrow. "Another offer?" He handed her a folder. "Bayview Grill is just one restaurant in our portfolio, but I need someone I trust to help run multiple locations." Tasha's breath caught. "A regional management position." She swallowed hard. "You really believe in me that much?" Robert smiled. "You proved that good leadership isn't just about profit. It's about people, and that's exactly what we need." Tasha stared at the offer in her hands. Just weeks ago, she had been fired, humiliated. Now, she was about to step into something bigger than she ever dreamed. She looked up at Robert, determination shining in her eyes. "I'm in." The moral of the story? Small diamond doing the right thing always matters. Small diamond karma has a way of coming full circle. Small diamond, and sometimes the thing that seems like the worst moment of your life is actually the beginning of something greater. What would you have done in Tasha's situation? Ever been punished for doing the right thing? Let us know in the comments. And if this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Heart.